So I was thinking today about the Invictus Games just because I saw those articles about the riots in the UK with the far right groups and how, there are all these arrests, all this violence, all these attacks, even sometimes the police are being attacked by the citizens. You have hundreds, if not thousands, of people in several different parts and towns in the UK who are, on this violent rampage and, creating, I think, a very concerning situation for everybody who wants some peace and stability around them where they live. And so I thought about the whole thing, Harry and Meghan, the security issues, just everything, the whole total story all together. And then I thought to myself, well, wait a second, are the Invictus Games safe in the UK? Actually, the 2027 games, which are supposed to go to Birmingham in 2027. Are these games safe? You know, is it safe? Can they afford? Can the Invictus Games committee afford the security that it's going to take to protect not just Harry and other officials and not just the athletes, but the actual people in attendance? Because it seems to me a sort of very fertile ground for people to perpetrate terroristic acts. It seems like in the UK, you don't really need a huge amount of reasons to perpetrate terroristic acts these days. I mean, as Harry said, I mean, it's all kinds of different ways. I mean, in the US, you have gun violence. I mean, it's less so in the UK with the guns, but I guess there are some gun attacks as well. But you have more things like knives and machetes and people literally swords and people literally chopping people's heads off with swords and all kinds of craziness in the UK. But I think the Invictus Games, excuse me, are going to obviously pose, a whole different threat level. And I think it's very concerning. If I were Harry and if I were on that committee, I'd be very, very nervous about it. And I possibly would be thinking about an alternative venue for those games because they have had the games in Germany, they've had the games in Canada, they've had the games, I believe, in the US, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they were in Florida at one point. They've had the games in many different places. Excuse me, I'm very tired. And there has never been any violence to my knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it just seems to me that the Birmingham venue is way too risky. It's way too risky because, yes, of the far right, violent, people who are sort of gathering together to commit these acts. But you also have other groups that, I mean, I think they could literally bomb Invictus right out of the UK just for kicks, which is why I really don't understand the rationale behind holding those games in UK. I don't know how this is decided. I don't know if Harry has any say, if he has a first say, the last say, whatever. But to me, I am very perplexed by this decision. I don't understand. It makes no sense. And now with the violent outbursts, which I expect would continue because once they get started, I mean, look at how long it took them to resolve that thing with Ireland. with Northern Ireland. They just keep going and going. These are not people who have a stopping point. So I don't know. What do you think about that? Tell me in the comments.